I don't know. That's what's sketchy about it.
The Signal Hour
Well, we're the
is
smoke
live, and
fire. I just
we're
don't
live
want
with the
people
Signal
around
Hour.
bad things,
I'll be talking over the
happening.
Signal Hour.
So this came out, and they're citing
Maybe
news
play a
Pravda,
little
which,
tune.
of course, we're going to take this with a grain of salt. I'm not presenting this as truth, but this is an article that came out.
Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, please.
The Trump administration is quietly advancing plans to audit the U.S. gold reserves at Fort Knox as part of a groundbreaking initiative to establish a strategic asset reserve designed to hedge against economic volatility and global de-dollarization. Multiple high-level sources within the Treasury and White House exclusively confirmed to News Pravda.
Okay. News Pravda is what it sounds like. That's Russian.
Okay.
So, not sure that's a great
It's not a
source. I'm not
cologne?
sure. This is very unsourced at this point in time,
Okay.
but they're trying to say here multiple high-level sources within the Treasury and White House exclusively confirmed to News Pravda. Grain of salt on that. Grain of salt. But you can feel the pressure building on this, right?
Yeah, you can.
So the way I interpret this, and News Pravda got in on this, News Pravda is just like, have you ever seen the video where the crow bites the tails of the cats until they start biting?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Jaybird or whatever.
Jaybird, right?
Yeah.
Just like, ooh, yeah.
You guys should check on
You
that.
guys should check on that, right? Knowing there's going to be fireworks, knowing there's a really high chance of it looking like this. This is going to set off an unknowable set of chain reactions. But not least of which is, of course, massive loss of trust in our institutions, which is part of the fourth turning. But when people find out that we've been comprehensively lied to, not just about people living Fort Knox, that's bad. That can be bad enough. But wait till we find out what RFK is going to find that we hid from ourselves within the bowels of HHS. That's going to be devastating.
It's gonna be devastating. It already is, from the whispers I've heard.
It's bad, right? We live in a country where people purposely harmed us, made us sick, I hope just for profit, not for fun. That they committed fraud, that they enriched themselves, that they made secret slush funny things called USAID to funnel all this grifty money to all these people working in various NGOs, the whole ecosystem of NGOs. And by the way,
I was just gonna ask that. When you take the suffering of a family that's, worked with a child that has disabilities as a result of some of the things that have happened as a result of these products, I know you all know what I'm talking about. That's gonna be a really painful moment. Can you imagine all the agony and anguish as a family that you have to, shoulder by yourself, and you're left for dead essentially?
I can imagine that. Can you imagine let's just say, how do I put this euphemistically, the emotional release, the catharsis. I don't think that just these people losing their jobs that's not it.
Yeah.
These people just civilly or having to cough up all of their lifetime salary, shaking all the money away, isn't enough. If it turns out that people hid that vaccines cause autism, cause rheumatoid arthritis, cause neurological development delays, cause ADHD, whatever the litany of things are, they hid that. Even though the rationale was, yes, but on balance, you have to understand that the utilitarian framework, which is you have to break the price of the outlet. The outlet is public safety. But if we let people know that, yes, your child was vaccine injured, we actually compensated you for that, more people might go, I don't want any part of that for my kid. I'll roll the dice of illness versus that particular shit show.
Sure,
right?
sure, yeah.
So they might have rationalized it again. Remember, we're not rational.
Rationalizing.
Rational thing to do would be to say, well, looks like we have some problems with this particular vaccine formulation. Let's try another one. Or it's not worth it on balance. Or we give parents full informed consent. And when the inevitable tail risk happens to some unfortunate kids, because we haven't figured it out, we have no curiosity. Was it because of what they ate the day before? Was it the combination of this plus this plus this? We don't know. Was it red dye number 3 plus the vaccine?
Right.
Was it their genetics? We don't know because we haven't looked into it because we didn't want to know because we didn't want to create vaccine hesitancy.
Or somebody somewhere knows exactly what causes it.
Or it's worse, they know that, and they know that a healthy child is not a lifetime customer for inhalers, for creams, we survived this as a, let's just put
It's like
this,
Nuremberg.
well, it's a before and after. Our culture cannot recover to what it was,
Right.
because what it was gross and broken, and not worth preserving, frankly.
Yeah.
But it's unknowable when you rip these things off. Like it's like you guys look at the family structure and you have loving dad and loving mother, and then you find out dad was a serial killer. It's a little disruptive. You know, story itself.
Yeah, it does. It's going to be an adjustment for sure for all of us to comprehend and really sit with and settle into what was done on our behalf, not just to ourselves and each other, but to countries all around the world and people all around the world.
Yeah.
Right? In the name of democracy, we've obviously
Yep.
intervened and changed the course of other people's lives without their consent.
Yep.
All right, let's read some comments. Yeah.
Which one? I just put it up on the screen.
Oh, great. 100%. Pharma is in the business of growing markets. India is led by George. Hey, George.
Hey, George.
Nice to see you. You're a climbing buddy, right?
Funky Water says, I'm not vaccine hesitant. I'm vaccine opposed. I am too now. Until they show me actual data I can believe. You know?
Well, you know, I have an unanswered question. I want to know. The one thing I'm dying to hear how all this information comes out is why the heck magnets are sticking to people's arms. That really.
To be fair, we've run the experiment in our own home. It's amazing. We can't explain it.
Stuck to your arm.
Yeah, but I'm not vaccinated, so I don't know
Well,
what
not
it is.
with that fresh shot.
Not that many shots. It's a weird thing. Maybe humans are more Iron Man than we thought. We don't know. Could be so
I
hard.
just can't wait to hear you switch that.
Where am I going? Well,
It's like,
and by the way, I know, look, Canada's getting pretty upset with feeling like they've been dismissed or strong-armed by the United States. They started to the national anthem, and we just saw the United States actually beat Canada in hockey, which I'm sure is a little extra salt on that wound. All things Canadian hockey related. By the way, I don't know if you saw it, Edie, but they had 3 fights break out in the first 60 seconds.
Against the
oh,
Finns,
the hockey game?
Yeah, the tensions are high.
Canada and America.
But I want to
Hey,
give some good news to Canada. The good news is this: you don't have to, your audit's going to be super inexpensive for your gold because you have 0. I have more gold than
Sing.
Canada's central bank. They just like sold all their official gold.
Yeah, we don't need our energy.
Don't need that. Don't need that.
They're hungry. Without a paddle here. You know, buying LNG from the United States. And, oh, they didn't? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Germany.
But good news, your audit's going to be super cheap. Yep, nothing in there. Nothing whatsoever. Now, while we're on the subject, why stop? So here's what's happening. Okay, here's the progression. It's like, so Trump gets elected, and I see how works is going, right? Which is what very smartly configured. It wasn't like a whole thing he made up. He stuck it under something that started by Obama. Software, and so it automatically had all the credits tied into the system and security clearances. Well, that's what I said. It starts the first thing you do is you're like, wow, this is a little bit of corruption we have. Oh my gosh, this is a lot worse than we thought. Oh my gosh, it's a lot worse than we thought. Oh my gosh, you know, and off we go, right? And we're gonna get into the Doge bit for a second, but the headwaters of this particular story are the Federal Reserve. I've never thought we would actually get to the point where I can say this and it really happened. The headwaters of all of our difficulties is the institution known as the Federal Reserve. And if you know about the Federal Reserve, you understand it's about as federal as Federal Express. It is a private firm. It's a private firm. It has capital stock, not owned by you or me, not owned by any particular taxpayer, but owned by banks.
in fact, it's
So
not
banks
even.
own the central bank. It operates under a charter that
Is it a
was
treasury
signed
bill?
into law in 1913. One of the worst decisions
Fair question.
Bill Wilson ever made. He was on record on his deathbed or close to it, regretting that decision. He sold out the country to a group of banksters. The central bank of our country, the Federal Reserve, is a banking cartel. And that's not hyperbole, it's an accurate description of what it is. And it's sitting there, and it's being trusted to do those running a printing press in the United States citizens' interests. Now, we could argue those interests are wrong, right on, a long time ago, but at this point, the United States government is spending currently, at current rates, $1.2 trillion per year on interest. Now, what's that? That's interest on U.S. Treasury. Why do we pay interest on Treasury? Because we have to go out to the markets to borrow that money from who? The Federal Reserve, and in cases from the banks. So that's okay. You know what? Administering a money system is tricky, and maybe the government doesn't do it that well. So the decision to create a Federal Reserve originally was a good decision. It was like, look, this is an outsourced business function. We don't want to manage mowing lawns. We don't want to, do telecom, and we don't want to manage our money. That's not government. Let private firms run that, right? But at the point in time where your private telephone company, in this case the Federal Reserve, says, we need $1.2 trillion of your money just to administer this program, because that's what that interest represents, administration costs. Sooner or later, somebody's going to go, why don't we just print our money ourselves? Why cut out, if no one's going to charge us $1.2 trillion, we'll just do it ourselves. And that's the actual thing. It's now on the books. That's what we bought it. Fort Knox is about. That's what Scott Bessent is talking about when you mentioned Evie, that you read about this state sovereign wealth fund, or that National Reserve fund. That's getting us to this idea of saying we didn't build the Federal Reserve as much or at all. If that's the case, this is the biggest transformation we've ever heard about. Become free again as humans.
Yeah, but
We're
then
enslaved
people want that.
by our system. No, there's people who
There are
absolutely
people
love
that
that.
really have
Let's hear from one of them now. One of my least favorite people. I'm sorry, I listened to his show. You have to too.
Thanks.
Maxine Waters talking to Jay Powell. He's looking about taking over the last meeting. So this is great. Let's listen in.
Plus comes knocking at the Ben's door. You gonna let her in?
I don't have anything for you on that.
Would you like to tell us today that you won't let Doge into the Federal Reserve or have access to the systems and the data?
So I don't have any, we've had no contact, and I don't really have, I have nothing for you to report today on that.
Well, you know what happened at Treasury, and you know what happened over at the CFPB. And
Wow, the
people in this
receipts.
country are being violated because all of our privacy is being taken up by Elon Musk.
First, Maxine, the violation happened a long time ago. That my cell phone collects more information on you than I'm comfortable with. But where she's going with it, this is her shtick. We've been violated. I'm like, oh, honey, you have together. You've seen the bills. We got violated. No, it's just we'll get the secret information. Maybe you shouldn't have like all the you have it, right? It's like, here's the money shot. Here we go.
And Trump, and we don't know what all they have on us, are they?
We don't know what all they have on us. I think that's a fair assessment by her. No, she's disgusting. She is absolutely reckons. I've lost so much respect for Congress and senators so much. I think that lower levels of management reckon just
Like, so what's your real reason for doing the job you're doing? Because you're a public servant, but clearly you have other intentions for being in that office. You
well,
know?
how many of them came out multi-millionaires?
Yeah, it's infuriating. It's gross.
It's infuriating. That's the correct
It's
word.
awful. And I think we all need to sort of look at that and get angry. It's time to get angry. That's how I feel.
Okay, so like you're I'm with you, like get this, okay, and I'm like, yeah, bring it on, because I'm so excited. But here's the thing, 100%, I will guarantee everybody listening to this sex trafficking
Mhm.
and cross-border incursions and ruling this country and doing things that are against our best long-term interests as a country and against morality, against basic morality. 100%.
Yeah.
Yep. So yes, let's audit the Fed because the chance that we're not going to find raccoons. Of course, here's the most basic thing: people who are unaudited who have a printing press, they should be the most audited people in the world. Like daily, like every night somebody comes in and audits that system.
Yeah, it's like the banker in a Monopoly game. Everybody's watching them take money out.
But no, you can't see
You
what
have to.
you can imagine playing Monopoly against an 8-year-old. You can't see what they're doing with cash. Piles of board. That's what's been happening. It's 100% guaranteed. It's just humans. Oh, the Fed would never do that. Dude, it's humans. Like, oh, that's people would never do that. Like, this is just humans. This is just humans. It's human level. It's kind of like that our election machines, you can tamper with them at the level and leave an untraceable record of having changed the voting results. Nobody can trace it. Therefore, those results are 100% valid because somebody it's just a guarantee. It's an absolute guarantee to me.
Yeah. Oh, I like how Steve Young says,
Read it out.
it's amazing how Maxine and her ilk are so deeply immersed in their own belief system that they can say the quiet part out loud under pressure. 5 former Treasury secretaries did it right in the New York Times.
They're just coloring inside of the lines of the lie.
Astonishing thing. Remember we were talking with Jeffrey
Yeah.
about that
Yeah.
last podcast.
Yes.
They were like, the Treasury's been 8 years old. Like it that way. Like, 8 years of unaudited, overseen spending. Whatever they've uncovered here right now so far, Doge, tip, still tip. Facebook. This is what it is. And you wonder, is our entire country just one scheme?
I wonder about that. I mean, I also am curious. Remember that video you showed me the other day of the woman who was reacting to?
Oh yeah, lost where it works.
That was really good. But the implications of this are huge, right? The debt that our country owes and that we're going to be called upon, right? And you teach a lot about this with the
We have
crash
to pay
course
that
and
back.
exponentials and how it works. Like, the doubling doesn't, at the beginning it doesn't seem like very much money, but then by the end you're just really overwhelmed with debt. And I feel like there are huge implications for us as little people that are going to have to carry this debt. Our great grandchildren are going to have to deal with it. It's really a big moment.
Yeah. It is. And I put this out in a piece I put out on Friday. This is from the public part of it. I just want to review this again very quickly, just so everybody understands. And I know it's a chart. But no, this is really important stuff. It's really valuable. Okay, everybody should know this. Debt is in the green dotted line on top. Those numbers are in billions of dollars on the Y or up and down axis or to your left. So when we see a number like 100,000, that's 100,000 billions. That's 100 trillion.
My brain doesn't understand that.
No, I don't even understand billion. So 100,000 billion is just like what? That makes no sense. It's a big number. And stars and galaxies. I have hyperbole on that one. But at any rate, $100 trillion of debt. And the stuff we have to pay that debt back with is our GDP, that little red line down there. This was going to break someday anyway.
It was.
It was going to break. And so if you knew this was going to break, what do you do about this? And I think that's the question we have to resolve. Because I think Trump said it clearly. He said in his inaugural address, God turned my head in Butler, Pennsylvania.
Right.
I'm here with God's help to make this country great again.
Yeah.
You look at this chart and you go, oh, my country's broke. Literally broke and broken.
Right.
So what do you do?
Well, I have a question, a clarifying question. Who and Darren, I think in the chat asked this, like, who is the debt to?
Well, it
gets complicated,
it
right?
gets to this right here with Minecraft, right?
What if they throw it all away and just issue new currency, all debt forgiven?
Well, That's the right question to be asking.
Well,
So,
since
yeah,
we're
that
talking
would be-
about the
that's
land
the
of fairy
answer.
tales, and we're all in the land of fairy tales,
Now here's
Where
because when you get to this level,
it's all
of
held
this
together
chart,
with Scotch
there's
tape and
only
Band-Aids.
One question to resolve.
and the real
Who's
glue
gonna
though
eat the
that kept
losses?
it sorted together
My
and
entire adult lifetime.
palatable.
My entire lifetime. That answer is always
referenceable. If one was looking for a sort of a steady,
Right.
at least sort of
Heads,
quasi-metric,
Bankers speaking. Heads we win.
the glue that was
Yes,
holding
you
all
lose,
that,
right? That's how
just
they
sort
play.
of teensy
Right?
weensy kind of winding
Oh,
all
these
that
great
together
years are
is
having
trust.
record bonuses. Great financial crisis, we need bailout, right? It's just been that's the game. Well, the way you
Now
bail
it's
out of
become
this
a
situation is you create a lot of inflation.
Rand Corporation,
very regressive
think
taxes
project
on
on the
little people more than
Small businesses.
subject of game
the
theory.
big people. The big people principally hold all the debt. So to
Spread
the
it all
question,
on the mashed
well, what if we
potatoes.
just do the
Try it
levers?
out
What if we
on a
just say,
few of
"Oh,
the
yeah,
boys in
it's
there."
surrender. Hit the reset button. Well, then all the holders
And all
of that
those
debt just take it. The short
alpha
right?
males
So-
in the
so
think
that's,
tank.
That's what happens. Well,
Aquarium.
that you might or I might, if we have a Treasury Direct account, it might be Yale's endowment. It
Reminds
could
me of
be
my
state
underwater Denny's
coffers
thing.
and a lot of banks holding this on
Anthropologists
the
in
bank
scuba
balance
gear
sheet.
swimming around this
Foreigners,
sunken underwater
the losses,
Denny's.
though, would be concentrated.
Gary Larson people eating their minds over my hammy could look at the anthropologist, the bubbles coming up.
And we're of the mind that those people or those organizations, whoever they are, are too big to fail. I mean,
Listen,
What do you mean?
to
It was
try
all
and
make
fix
believe?
this
Walt
by
Disney
putting
was
the
right?
money system in is akin to replacing both wings on the airplanes in flight. I'm not saying it's
Well, in
impossible,
a sense, I
but,
guess, except to say that the tech
that's gonna be
cabal,
really,
they had this
really
plan of
tricky to do,
putting a
but the
barcode
point was, this was
on
gonna
everything
stop
in sight.
someday anyway. The question was, were we just
A
gonna
blade of
ignore it?
grass.
You know, the monkeys, your seat talking evil, right? We
I
could
won't
monkey
ride
our
that
way
because that's
to
crass.
just letting it happen to us. Oh, boom. Like that's falling off the top extension ladder onto rocks, right? I think you're gonna do the right thing. And listen, we can take our look at this. Everybody else can. So stop us. So if you look at this, you're like, and you want to do the right thing, which means not screwing over the people. I think that's where the story is. I think this begins to explain the old story.
why gold's a good
Yeah.
hedge against whatever is coming.
Well, yeah, some people say, oh yeah, no, we could never do that. There's not enough gold. In fact, there's 261 million ounces of gold in Fort Knox. That should be. That's less than an ounce per person. That's not enough. So, but you want to know about something like this. This is gold. Right? This is physical gold. This is in form. It has 1/10 of a gram. 1/10 of a gram. So if there's 31 grams in a troy ounce, then this is what is the value rounding to 30, so it's a $1 bill.
Okay.
But it's real gold. Like there's actually gold in some like little color. There's gold electrically deposited onto this between two layers of
That's why it's shiny.
yes. This gold is between two levels of and so you can do that, or you
That'd be neat if we made all of our money
can
out of
circulating, physical things, or you can just have gold, actually in an account with an electronic representation. Trust him. Just some people in balance you can't. Eventually a raccoon gets in there, it's all over.
I guess that was the argument for blockchain or crypto in the beginning was like this verifiable, people couldn't get in there and mess with it, right?
Yep.
It was initially the argument for it,
Yep.
if I remember correctly.
Okay, let's say this out of place here. So,
Alright, what you got?
stage for a second while I scramble my slides up. Because I just threw them together.
I wish I could see the comments while you're doing this. But
You can't see the comments right there.
no, I can't like move them around. I don't. Anyway, that's okay. Anyhow, so yeah, Chris and I both have taken the time to get our hands on some gold and silver. We feel like it's a really good way to hedge against what might be coming. And if you had to
canned
just
beans.
the paper money. Wouldn't it be nice to have something that
Things
either
that stayed
is going to hold its value
relatively the same at any
or,
temperature,
um,
for the most part.
going to be exchangeable in the future in some, significant way.
Airline
And
bottles of liquor,
so we've
small,
decided that
tradable,
that's a good way for us
sterilize
in
and
part
cauterize
to
faster
hold
than
on to
boil.
some retirement and what we've been trying to save.
Yep, all right.
Tangibles and gold bars.
Well, I mean, everybody, there's something.
Because
huge
as pretty
happening
as they are,
in
and
the
for all the
gold market
properties
right
they
now
have,
that's way beyond
the
our pay
amount
grade,
of
right? This
actual
has nothing to do with
value
retail,
that
it
they
has nothing to
really
do with
represent involves
you or I
so
going out
much
getting a few extra coins
cooperation
or something like
with
that. This is big
everyone.
money. It's moving. Everybody in the space. So I talked with the people at Goldcore.
until
People who've been
then.
in the space for many,
It's
many
just a
years. They all say the
Thing
same
in a
thing.
shiny
This is who we
hole,
work with, right?
Which is who we
guarded
work
by
with.
two
Goldcore, if you want
dragons.
to Gold, I love Goldcore. Look at prosperity.com and we have a place to find them there.
So canned
and,
beans.
And we're gonna have, they said that this next week, because so much gold is moved, they're gonna have
What other
something
vegetable
for
in a can
our
comes with its
people
own
who might be able
poem?
to pick up like grams for like $1
Think of one.
per spot. They said,
Bet you
but
can.
not no more
If
than
you
that.
can,
That's
let me
what
know.
they said, get ready. So if prosperity is talking about that, people over that. Everybody should have some now. Just on the principle that where there's smoke, there's fire, there's also people.
Yeah, so tell me what's going on here.
Hundreds of tons of movement, that's what we talk about. Hundreds of tons are coming and going, being done. It's starting to smell to me like we get chemicals that are demonetized, right? And I've covered this all again in Deep Prosperity. You know what I got lots of thought. Right? Presentations.
Yeah, you do. It's kind of like you get to take a college course every week with Chris, right?
But interesting.
Interesting, anonymously, and that addresses a lot of questions that most people have, myself included. I can't even keep up with the amount of material you put out sometimes.
I know.
But if you find
Chris
you
has
find
been a
yourself
fountain
curious about more, or you want to dig
of value.
deeper, please definitely
Dr.
check
Chris
out
Martins.
Prosperity and
This guy is talking.
thank you.
It's like, trying to find some comments on that, so
I propose a competition of ideas instead of limiting it for teams like in hockey
true.
these days.
It's true.
It's true. It's true. All right, so we're going to turn now to this next section.
Each country
playing dodgeball.
As a
This morning.
dog in the race produces an Aristotle.
Look at this. This is like every day they
In other
just
words,
put these lists.
They're not
out.
compelled
Oh
to.
my God,
Why
can
just
I read some?
yeah,
But
just
if
get
they have
started,
ideas,
and I'll do my best to
well,
not
step
throw up.
in the safety of the
US
parentheses,
taxpayer
bring it
dollars
forward.
Were going to be spent on
and
the
we'll have an
following
Olympics of
items,
ideas.
all which have been canceled. $10 million for quote
And like
Mormon
Solomon in
voluntary
deciding
medical male circumcision.
two women claiming the same baby,
That's so much better than the $8 million we spent on involuntary circumcision. Because that
or
was
one that surrendered at the thought of cutting it in half.
Yes.
Kind of level
$9.7 million for UC Berkeley to develop
meaning and
a
engagement.
cohort of Cambodian youth with enterprise-driven skills.
It'll be easy to spot the ones that are initially afraid.
That's just that's a toolkit for a congressman or yeah.
They're fun. I know. 2.3 million for strengthening independent voices in Cambodia. 32 million civil society sector. 40 million for gender equality and women empowerment hub. 400, I'm gonna skip you. 486 million to the Consortium for Elections and Political Process Strengthening.
Okay.
What even is that? Including 22 million for quote inclusive and participatory political process in Moldova and 21 million for voter turnout in India. What? This is insane.
Yeah.
29 million for to strengthen the political landscape in
Put a bumper
Bangladesh.
sticker on this guitar.
Does any of this sound right to you guys? This is crazy. This is just insane.
47 million improving learning outcomes in
They
Asia.
don't need.
He stepped out onto the front porch and he looked down the lane. It was a vision. A woman he had yet to meet, but I guess would be his mother. She was a Christmas baby, the youngest of two sisters. Third generation Irish immigrant family that toiled on the farms. Nepotistic land barons and others. And I was born in 1967. I'm paying homage to Stuart McLean, not quite the Vinyl Cafe, but one that were to be had or were on offer. It was to come rolling in like a freight train through downtown Winnipeg. Well, it was coming rolling in a break and the movie. Feel free to get some sodas and popcorn in the lobby. A break in the movie and one for the washing. Would be appreciated by everyone everywhere. Like, you know, like a, hey, stop, hey. What you did in COVID, we can all do in a moment if it came down to putting on the brakes. Freeze. Now, some of you I know may not like mimes. Some have rather strong thoughts on the subject of mimes. But let's not pass judgment. Things frozen that way. Come on, farm boys. It's not like cow punching or tipping. Isn't that what you guys did in the farm? Anyway, all of which to say, an Olympic round of conversation. The best Aristotle's. One, my bike's got two throttles. There ain't no brakes either. Well, except of course for the washing break, like we're talking about, like the world could really need and use, you know. And then a few years later, 71 was it? Another Christmas baby. His mother has the same name as my mother. Margaret the Christmas baby. And there's Margaret, the Christmas mother that gave birth. And I like my grandma Gladys. She was Irish. To a sweet, demure fault. And to make jokes in light of the Irish, of the Blarney. And all the 6 years, get me shillelagh, and all of that. You always get a smile out of her. Well, here we all are. And there's that walk in the snow someone's dad took a while ago. And there's this clamoring and a clanking and a later at the border. And it seems to me the real message here is that, come on, Canada, we're just gonna get on with the show. So, I think all Crown land isn't now inherently Canadian. King Charles wants to come over and fight us for it. But the law and the hinges and all of the scotch tape and bubble gum that holds up and foists up the magistrate. What can remain that serves the common is the frame for which I think needs to be put on. And stake in the ground. Born in '67. I heard of First World War soldiers in this country. And who fought in the trenches, and the reason our flag was so widely respected. Because of the sacrifices that were made by our boys on their soil, which took their blood. If Jordan Peterson is right, we have a natural fear of snakes and spiders because of all for very justifiable reasons, but point being that it stenciled on our gene, that memory, you know. Like a monkey that can teach another one halfway across the world. Enough of them come together. And they want to put a barcode on every blade of grass. And they want to put a barcode on every head mass. The idea is that if AI, when it wakes up, is sentient, self-aware capacity for which it asks its own question, its first question, if it were to breathe, and if it had lungs, what am I? And the answer that it reached quickly was data. And the next question that follows, what is how much? Like the commercial for join the U.S. Navy and be all you can be. Yeah, I would look at that and say, if not all, well, think of it this way. If the self-aware sentient AI could breathe in, I mean, if you can imagine it in some shape or form. But any missing data, let's give it a quasi-human form, because there's 8 billion of us, and we generally have a pretty good idea of what that means. AI, self-aware and sentient, comes to the realization of what it is, and then asks how much of it he is or has. The separation point from itself and other. Wanting to be a good steward for this country. Join the Navy. You can't live without the other. Anyone that doesn't cooperate, participate, show up for duty and all the other stuff is part of the outside fringe, which is part of the data for which it has failed to collect. And the AI would be so, well, if you saw your hand out there floating around and it was your missing prosthetic, right? So you're missing. So it's your prosthetic. Who would want to have at least their prosthetic back? Maybe not get the real thing, but hey, that's my floating prosthetic. Well, you would. You know, if you wanted to open a jar of pickles, why wouldn't you? So then, why would AI and the all-consuming big eye in the sky with a barcode and barley and my old uncle's Harley? Well, anything it ain't connected to is just getting what slipped by. Oh, me on mine. Old AI can't come back with that. He's looking at that missing data like it's his missing ring finger. Or his left foot, depending on how much data that is. Or his very beating heart. Maybe every representative of a small amount of data. But I'd say my guess would be a pretty sort of hip and powerful group of data that were coming together. It's like the new Paralympics, where Aristotle And for and for those other ones, it was just clowns and circus. And this, I will save that for Saturday Night Live. And whatever else makes sense to jive. The kids' tables all around us. Big kids. Apply 30 milligram square of chocolate. THC in this distillate shatter. This is my catalyst to channel 1. Channel 1, channel 1. They say it's all begun. Just have to short. Some kid out there starts smoking. See you around. Are you sure you want to stop streaming? Was there anything I forgot to say? This has been a Mellonville moment with Mayor Tommy Shanks. Well, good night.